Reconciliation is not a destination. It is a journey all Australians are on together. The artworks along the pathway between the National Library and the High Court of Australia are responses to that shared journey. These artworks can be interpreted in several ways. This dialogue is just one way of telling the story. Judy Watson's work, Fire and Water, is comprised of rusted shapes suggesting burnt grass, an eerie central shape which could be a bogong moth, traditional food of the Ngunnawal people of the Canberra region, and plantings that flow down the slope to suggest water. However, taken as a whole, these elements speak to the basic needs all humans share: water, food, warmth, shelter, and family. In Vic McGrath's work, Mathaluthari, his desire to introduce viewers to the traditional way of life in the Torres Strait Islands is evident in the bronze and concrete representation of their traditional canoe and the text on it regarding the cycle of the seasons. Their spiritual life is represented in the figure on the front sail, made of mother-of-pearl stars. A hero, Tagai, is depicted in the sky, standing in his canoe with his 5-barbed fishing spear extended. But this image is familiar to all Australians because it includes the Southern Cross. Perhaps the concept we are being asked to consider is that though our use of the land may differ as much as our stories, in the end we all share the same planet, the same sky. Thousands of Indigenous and Torres Strait Islander children were forcibly removed by governments, churches and welfare bodies to be raised in institutions, fostered out or adopted. These children are known as the stolen generations. The exact number of children who were removed may never be known, but there are very few families who have been left unaffected. In some, children from 3 or more generations were taken away. The removal of children broke important cultural, spiritual and family ties and has left a lasting impact on the lives and well-being of all involved. Separation 1 explores this loss through an empty coolaman, usually used to carry a baby, and the image of a lonely boy, and all the words for baby, child, sister, brother in various languages, perhaps as a way to name that loss. The rippling water of Separation 2 echoes the tears inevitable with the loss, not just of children, but of family and community. Words from members of the stolen generations illustrate the truth of their stories, only now being acknowledged in the history of our country. Acknowledging and accepting what happened is uncomfortable. Can we find a way forward together? With her artwork, Qui'ith, depicting the man and woman yams that are the staple food of her people, Cape York elder and artist Than Kupi suggests we can find a way together, and it starts with sitting down, sharing a meal and talking it out. The location of Reconciliation Place within the heart of the National Triangle speaks to the importance of the process of reconciliation. It crosses the symbolic centre of the national capital, the central land axis of the Griffin's design, and anchors it to this place, demonstrating the essential nature of the journey we are all taking together. The leadership and referendum artworks provide an opportunity to pause and reflect on the steps already made on this journey. The peaceful protest of the Wave Hill walk-off and the leadership of Vincent Lingari is indicative of the protests in many First Nations communities, with people simply asking to be treated as equals. The wider community responded in the referendum held in 1967, where almost all voters agreed that Indigenous and Torres Strait Islander peoples should have the same rights and be governed by the same laws as every other Australian citizen. Neville Bonner was among those who campaigned hard before the referendum and joined the Liberal Party just after the vote. He became a senator in 1971, the first Indigenous Australian to hold a seat in our federal parliament. The section of Reconciliation Place closest to the High Court is the location of 5 beautiful sandstone artworks. These are not memorials, they are celebrations of the life's work of 5 honoured Indigenous elders whose efforts helped bridge the gap between European and Indigenous Australia. Each includes a quote from the elder and symbols important to their spiritual life. The quotes are strong calls to action for our future, encompassing challenges such as how we treat our environment and care for each other, recognising that we are all equals, one world and one people, and that we are walking together into a reconciled future. This last quote from Gatchel Chakura is paired with the carving of a ceremonial war club which has become the message stick of his people, the Wangari. It seems, therefore, that this message is being symbolically passed to everyone that visits to carry out into the world.